What's up, bros and hoes? Whatever floats your goat. It's your boy Relentless, bringing you yet another Division video. And today's topic and question is the whole SMG crit chance debate. Now, I'm pretty sure all of you have watched Skillup's video, and I'm pretty sure all of you have watched Like Butter's video. They both are great content creators. I enjoy both their contents and the videos that they make. But as you can see, if you watch both of them one after the other, there is a bit of a difference of opinion there. SkillUp would call this new change as more or less a nerf to the SMG. And like Butter would say, more or less, this is a good thing for SMGs because it makes them more viable. And it's not neither a nerf or a buff, it just makes them more useful and more competitive and the whole diversity and viability scheme coming in 1.6. Now, as you see, I'm standing next to the piano, so I'm going to play you a tune here. Now, I showed this in one video. And as you can see, I have two SMGs, same attachments, same everything. And I just want to go over a few things with you. See, the crit chance here is 32.5%. Crit hit damage is 113%. Now, the basic crit hit damage that I have is 37%. So, in turn, if you take off the 37% of that 113%, you're still going to be around 80% crit hit damage. And at 32.5% crit hit chance, that 82% damage is going to be very significant and actually give you a little bit more buff. Because in turn, the way it is in 1.5, yes, you can stack crit hit chance all you want to, but you get more bang out of your buck because you can stack headshot damage more than you can crit hit damage. And it's basically all in how you build your builds. You can stack it around crit chance, but yet if you have no crit damage, then it doesn't do you no good. And vice versa. If you can stack crit damage but have no crit chance, then basically that crit damage is useless at the same time. Now, you can intertwine certain talents on your weapons to counteract kind of a balance. And as you can see on this one, I've showed it before, this is just my crit healer build, more or less. As you can see, Vicious crit hit chance is increased by 10% while having more than 2 segments of health. It basically comes in handy if you have an overheal, such as Overdose or using Vigorous, because that basically gives you over 2 health segments to have that additional 10% crit hit chance. Now, Fierce, the trade-off on Fierce, I'd rather trade that in for more or less Unforgiving. But on the other end, you can keep the crit hit chance here, and instead of having crit hit chance on a mask, which is only around 4 or 5%, I believe it's only 4%, and since skill and electronics is going to be more beneficial, you can swap out that crit chance on a mask for skill power. Now, let's go to this MP5ST. Responsive, Deadly, and Vicious. See, if I had Deadly on the other, then that would increase my crit hit damage to 95%. So unlike 1.5, where Deadly is basically, not more or less useless, but there are other more viable talents out there. But using Deadly, such as on this weapon, instead of Self-Preserve, that's going to give you an extra 15% crit hit damage. Now, some prefer to go with the flat base damage, such as Responsive, Unforgiving, and then the Vicious. Now, that would be my more or less perfect, I guess, so to speak, 3 major talents. Instead of Responsive, I would rather have Unforgiving, Deadly, and then the Vicious. Because the Unforgiving and Vicious kind of work in tandem. You get the crit hit chance, you get the extra, damage boost when you crit, and you get that bonus crit hit damage. And then in turn, when you lose that health segment and you lose that 10%, then you get a buff, a 10% buff in your base damage by losing 1 health segment. And then you actually get more of a damage buff when you lose in 2 health segments, which comes in very handy in PvP. Now, as you can see, I have a plethora of SMGs. I also have the AUG. Now, if I had the RPM a little higher, if I could get it to around 800, I would like this very much. And also, as you can see, I have more or less the damage dealing converted SMG 9 that gives you all the base damage buffs as far as unforgiving, responsive, and instead of brutal, I'd prefer deadly in this situation. And also, I got the shotguns. I got another MP5 ST with responsive, deadly, and brutal. An MP7 with vicious, brutal, and responsive. And the list goes on and on. So basically, we're not really going to know for sure, 100%. We can do all the fact finding, do all the number crunching, and there's so many ways in how to create a build. And this is purely based on weapon and weapon mods. This has nothing to do with gear or gear talents. There are so many things that are out there that can be adjusted to more or less circumvent other things and make your build more viable and even stronger. And I do believe if I had to choose an opinion between Skill Up and Like Butter, even though they are both great content creators, I would have to lean more toward the Like Butter situation and scenario and his theory on crit hit chance being a good thing for 1.6. Because, you know, ARs have their baked in enemy armor damage. LMGs have their out of cover base flat damage. SMGs are the only ones that do not have a flat base damage modifier. It's either always been crit damage or crit chance. So I think in turn with this being crit chance, it makes SMGs a lot more viable in 1.6. And there's so many different builds out there to kind of concoct. And basically, the roundabout, you want to be around 30% crit hit chance based on the numbers and stats, and then stack everything else on more or less crit damage with your mods. As far as I think you can get around 16 to 19% crit hit damage on your scope. You can get crit hit damage on your magazine, and you can get around 19% crit hit damage on your muzzle. And then there is deadly that takes another 15%. And keep in mind, let's say you have crit cap at 60%, and let's say your magazine is, for all purposes, 100 rounds. That doesn't mean 60 of those bullets are going to be critical hits. That means each bullet has a 60% chance of being a crit. So in certain situations, you might hit 5 or 6 crits in a row, but then in turn you might hit 3 or 4 or 5 that are not crits. So you need to find a balance between the crit chance that you want on your weapon and make sure you have enough crit damage on there to make that crit chance that you stack viable. And also these flat damage bonuses, like I said, vicious, deadly, and unforgiving. I plan on rolling off responsive for unforgiving because that goes well and in tandem with vicious. Because even though you lose crit chance by falling below 2 blocks of health, but yet you also increase your damage at the same time. So that is something to think about when 1.6. We haven't gotten an official release date, but you can expect one very, very soon. The PTS is over with. They're just more or less fine-tuning and tweaking things here and there. And also, on a side note, for some reason, people are calling for more nerfs on SVDs and the Deadeye set. And for some reason, I don't know what it is with this game, but there is a player and a gamer mentality that, and not just this game, in all games, that need to change. And this is my little heart-to-heart talk with you. Forget all the builds, forget, the guns, the talents, or even, theory crafting. Let's talk about a gamer mentality. We must all keep in mind that there is another player, another human being on the other side of that TV screen that's talking through that mic that you hear in voice chat. And society has taught us if we can hide behind a computer screen, a monitor, then basically we can say what we want to and not be held accountable for it. But whether you believe in karma, reaping what you sow, what goes around comes around, believe it or not, it is factual. Treat people and talk to people how you want to be treated. Back in the day, it was all about chivalry, respect, and honor. Why can't you have a 1v1 or a PvP and actually, either die with dignity or win with a little dignity and have a little honor and some good camaraderie between, opponents. There doesn't need to be this name calling, this homophobia, this racist slurs that are going on, this name calling, the cursing back and forth. I mean, most of us are grown adults, teenagers, even young kids. It doesn't matter what age that you may be. It is just a game. I understand there is things and aspects that make you want to be, the winner, and you feel like, that your build should have been able to win, and you might think that the other one, or know that the other one has a weaker build, but, their play skills might be a little bit better. So, and in turn, instead of, cursing the person out, calling them names, bashing them, why don't you pull them over or send them a message and say, hey, how was you able to overcome? I mean, I don't know, I got a better build than you. I'm doing out more damage. How was you able to overcome and pull out this victory in this little battle that we had? Just in like the UEG PvP tournaments that we have. I mean, we're all good sports about it. We shake hands, well, not more or less in the game because you can't. But, we always talk in chat and say GG. We discuss, our tactics and what we can improve upon, because if you want to be better, you have to play better people. In order to do so, you have to do your research. You have to gain knowledge. And the only way to gain knowledge is actually talk to people and have an understanding with somebody that has more knowledge than you do and that have better skill set than you do. So that way you can elevate your game to more or less better compete with them. Because bashing them and degrading them, they're not going to want to help you. But understanding the situation, and even though we are all have that competitive spirit within us, and there's people that like to rage, but we have to look at the bottom line. The bottom line is we're all people. In order to get better, we're going to have to come together as a community. Now, the Upper Echelon Gaming community is a great community. We have discussions on tactics, builds, theory crafting. The head honcho, the chief in charge, UE Sanctionite, is great when it comes to theory crafting. All the mods and other admins, and even just the regular members show great support for one another. We do not believe in toxicity. We raise one another up and not tear each other down. Yes, we always have fun. We cut up. We have a good time. But when it all comes down to it, we are all family members. And we enjoy the camaraderie. We enjoy the discussions, because that's the only way that we are actually going to be able to perfect our builds better than what they are, to seek out new ideas, better ways of doing things, and increase our playability and grow our skill and actually become better at any particular game, not just the division. But anyways, that's just my rant. But the other main reason for this video, I need to announce the winners of the giveaway. It's a little late. I was going to announce it at 800 subscribers, and now we have 808, and I can't appreciate you guys enough for all the support. Shouts out to you all. Thank you so much, and keep in mind, as this channel continues to grow, these giveaways will also continue. And your support and becoming a patron, like if you're a small YouTuber, trying to get your channel off the ground, if you want shout outs, or, you want me to bring you in the division if we're on the same platform and play with you and get your name out there and get you to be known, by all means, hit the little about button on my main page. You'll see my email address. Shoot me an email. We can we talk and discuss. And it's not all about being friends with the high and mighty content creators that already have 30 to 40,000 subs or 100,000 subs, just so that we can elevate our game. Even though I'm a small time YouTuber trying to reach that level, I still want to give back to the others that just started out just like I did. I started out, with 20 or 30 subs and slowly grew from there, and now we're at 808, and it's all because of you guys. So, yes, shout out to all the content creators on YouTube, but let's not forget the little guys. I mean, we all started there somewhere, so, we should give them just as much support as we do the main and higher up content creators, such as Skill Up, Like Butter, Denzi, King Macho, Sanctionite, and the list goes on and on. The same respect and shout outs we give to them, we should also do that to the little guys, especially if they're in a particular community that you are in as well. But anyways, let's get on to the announcement of these winners. We'll start out with the Wildlands Ghost Recon full game giveaway. Drum roll, please. Okay, that's just me tapping on my leg, but anyways. Party Schaefer, you are the winner of the Ghost Recon Wildlands full game that will be released on March the 7th. So please hit me up through my email on my main channel. Just like I said, you can hit that about button, scroll down, it'll have my email address. Let me know your information. What time zone or what region that you are in, because I do not want to buy a United States region disc and you not be able to use it if you are in another region. So please hit me up with that information and we will figure something out along that lines. Now let's get on to the main thing. The replica Division watch, the limited edition watch. And I wish I could keep this for myself, but I have two of them. And I'm going to give away one now, and then once we hit around 850 to 900, I'll be giving away another. Also, in between those, I'll be giving away control freaks that will help your game, improve your accuracy, and also help prolong the life of your thumbsticks on your controller, whether it be Xbox or PS4. But let's get a better drum roll. The winner of the duplicate replica watch of the Division is Randall Wardlaw. Randall Wardlaw. Thank you so much for participating, for following me on Twitter, for liking and subscribing to my channel. Congratulations to Party and Randall. I hope you enjoy it. Also, Randall, please go and hit the about on my main channel. Go down to the email address and email me your info so that way I can be sure to send that out to you. But once again, I can't thank you guys so much. I appreciate y'all guys so much. You just don't even know. You are famous. And if there's anything I can do to give back to you, to help promote whatever you got going on in life, if you need help grinding on the Division, if you need help farming things, whatever the case may be, if you need some pointers, some tips, or just want to play along and join up with me, be sure to drop me a line, and I do this for you guys, and I appreciate you guys so much, and we'll see you guys fudging later.
I got broads in Atlanta, just to lean the family, credit cards in the scammers, hitting the licks in the van.